Now I quickly show you that this could also look much neater if you have just a simple rectangle. Put in my rectangle and replace the geometry here. And now you see this is all, it all has 0 kilowatt per hour. That's it. It's because the surface was placed upside down. So if you would check the orientation, you can see that it's actually pointing down. So we need to rotate it, and now it calculates everything. This was also very quick, much quicker now than before, and yeah, it gives you much nicer output. Now let's try to increase that. Woo! Hello, that's a bit over the top. Okay, this was a bit too much. And you can see how far you can go. So you can get a very, very, very detailed output. And maybe just remove the tag. But yeah, it gives you a very, very, very detailed output. And it's super useful. Now what you can do, okay, I'm gonna show you more. I show you we can actually do change the legend parameters. So over here in this portion there's some extras. I haven't showed it until now, but I think it's time. With this one and this tool you can actually change a lot here. The gradient index basically defines the colors. That goes into custom colors. What else can we change? We can change the low and high bound. For example, if we know that this is 1122 kilowatt per hours, then we could restrict it. So we basically force the legend to be a legend from 0 to 1200. We can also define the numbers of segments, so we can actually change this to 12. You can change the location of the legend. It's just basically a point where you can move these things around. Or the scale, this is just basically a number. At the moment the scale is set to 1, and then you can just... I will go back to a bigger number for the grid size, so the whole calculation for the legend is also quicker. So scale, let's just to give you an impression how that looks like. What's wrong? Oh. It doesn't seem to work. Okay, I made a mistake, sorry, I was not reading. Low bound is here on the top and high bound is on the next step. So actually this should be here. Okay, now you can see that I have splits in 12. Should try 11. Yeah, now it makes more sense. In 11 segments with the highest 1200, create a pretty cool graphic. And you can see I also changed the size here. I can make this even smaller if I want. I guess it depends on how big your plan is. You can of course always bake it and then make it smaller. I like the 0.5. Let's check what else. So we can also copy this here and create a scribble. Decide what we want. For example, black and white looks interesting. What's black and white? 16. That's quite cool. If I remove that, it jumps back to the original Ladybug. I just took that off because I want to show you. Of course, you can also use a slider with integers, and Oh yeah, this is the original Ladybug, and then we could go into multicolored. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's multicolored. Okay, what else can you change? The font, if you just input here Arial. It doesn't work with all fonts, I found out, but most of the fonts, they work. Font size. Okay, yeah. I guess these are the most important. You can define how many decimal places you have. You can remove less than. I'm not sure. You can set conditionals. That's also cool. Here you can input the project name. Okay, I like this how it was before, and I want to go back to my previous model. Yeah, so I liked my previous look. Yeah, why not? Legend is fine. I can change it later. Well, but the font is nice. Font size is a bit out of proportion. Let's go back here. Okay, so I recommend you, if you want to play with the legend, just play with a test surface which is much smaller than this, because otherwise it's a bit tedious. So okay, let's so what I want to do is, so this is fine, but I want to test four analysis periods. So spring, summer, autumn, winter. And for that we just get the analysis period component, and this was a mistake. Yeah, so be just cautious that my Grasshopper doesn't freeze, so I will turn this off here. Now we did it before, so I'm doing it very quickly. Spring would be from March to May. This is spring. Now, okay, let's run it again. Okay, that makes more sense. Now I can just copy that here. It's cool because it actually turns to false right away. So if I put this in here, shouldn't bake anything, but it's Okay, so there was something wrong with the bake it, so I mean, you can also just go here in the middle, in this middle bit, and right click and bake, and it will bake you the same thing in the specified folder. And then you can always, so I have it here, and then you can always also adjust your mesh display and how you want to look at it. Well, I kind of like this kind of look. Now, yeah, let's do the other months. Now, because what we can do, instead of turning that off and on, what we can also do is press spacebar and stop the whole script. It's also good. And change here the parameters. So we want to test from June to August. So another thing I just realized, okay, if I of course use less data, or let's say I use less days to calculate, then of course my overall output will be smaller. Now, because I restricted it to this kind of range from 0 to 1200, it gives me actually quite of a weird output because I don't actually reach any of these levels. So let's see how that's changed is if I take this off. Yeah, so this changed my output quite drastically. Gives me a better understanding on how summer would look like, because it was almost misleading. I would say maybe we restrict it with, because I want to show the 4 different months next to each other, we might need to restrict it in a certain way just to have a equal output. Let's do 500. Yeah, that should be fine. 500. Okay, so yeah, it feels much more comfortable now. Okay, I'll do the same here. I will bake it. No, what else should I tell you? I hope you like my content. If you do, hit the bell button, because that's the only way that you know when I upload another video. Like it, subscribe. If you don't like it, don't subscribe. If you have comments, questions, please just let me know.